Very much for Luke and Segona for inviting us again. Our presentation comes to a lot of years of work that we've known each other. And I remember in 2009, 2010, when we did the first mission to the Cosmetic Valley, one of the goals that we had as an association, I was working before for the government of Colombia, for the Ministry of Trade. And what we wanted to do together with the Cosmetic Valley was the development of a cosmotopoeia of cosmetic ingredients from Colombia. So from then onwards, now I work for the private sector for the Cosmetic Association of Colombia. So together with the cluster of cosmetics of Bogota, together with the National University, we've been working on getting a regulation right, especially in access to generic material and access to biological materials. So in that sense, we could get more investment and more foreign companies to come to Colombia and help us do R&D into our ingredients. Just to start, just some information about the Colombian cosmetic market. As Unimonitor presented, Latin America, it's around $33 billion worth of cosmetics. A lot of perfume. That's something very typical of us. And that's where we can see also great potential in the sense that if more and more ingredients are developed in our country, with our biodiversity, as Professor Viviana told us, I think we can get a lot of potential for the development of higher-end products that could be imported into Latin America or could be exported to other regions. This is very important, and ProColombia, or export entity, promotion entity, is here today with us in order to do a follow-up in how we can promote more foreign investment when it comes to R&D, to investigating our biodiversity, and hence promote our export also from Colombia into the European Union, because right now I think we're exporting no more than $15,000. So that's our big goal in the future. So in that sense, and by recommendation, I remember in 2011, by the Cosmetic Valley, we started working in Colombia in our CBD. We knew that we had to sign the Protocol of Nagoya, but as Colombia becomes part of the Andean community, we have the 391 law. So the 391 law is very, very close to the Nagoya Protocol. So what we decided was, in order to promote our exports and to promote R&D, was to get it as harmonized as possible as the Nagoya Protocol and deduct the construction of access to genetic material contracts and access to biological material contracts. Next one, please. So according to the CBD Articles 15 and 19, access to genetic material has to be ethical and fair. And in that sense, this was regulated by the Colombian Ministry of Environment in a way that could also be fair for the Colombians, for the people that are investigating into our natural resources, and it will be competitive for companies to come and do R&D and also manufacture in our country. Next, please. In that sense, some categories were defined. So the first one was, we are one of the only countries that has non-monetary benefits. We see other countries, sometimes as Brazil, where you always have to pay a royalty over the product if it's using a natural ingredient from Brazil. So in that sense, in Colombia, we decided that not always you had to pay monetary dividends over the natural ingredients that were being used. But on the other hand, there are some monetary benefits once the information comes from the Ministry of Environment or an investigation or R&D facility in Colombia. There are different stages. One is the non-commercial contract, which is only through research. And at this moment, this law was promoted only 2 years ago, and at this moment we already have 10 commercial purpose contracts. 2 of them are from French research labs, and the other 8 are from Colombian universities that are working together in the development of these natural ingredients for cosmetics, pharmaceutical, and food ingredients. The non-monetary benefits can come when you do the direct investment. I mean, if you are a company that you go to Colombia and you do all the investment on doing the research, then you don't have to pay monetary benefits. And when you pay monetary benefits when you are accessing to samples from the Ministry of Environment. You're accessing examples from the different autonomous environmental regions of Colombia, or if you're going to do an initial payment when you're going to extract something that already has a patent and you're going to use it on a further product in Colombia. So what are the examples of non-monetary advantages? Well, as I told you, in Colombia, you don't have to pay a royalty for the use of our national ingredients, and there is ways that you can sort that out instead by investing in the country. So for example, if you're providing Colombia with research facilities, you're providing Colombia with technical evaluation proofs, if you're providing them, let's say, with equipment and let's say methodologies in order to do research, then you don't have to pay a royalty like you do in other countries that are biodiverse. If you're creating a new ingredient from the Colombian biodiversity and you're the one who is investing in all that development, then you don't have to pay any royalties, you don't have to pay any monetary compensation to the Colombian authorities. If you do cooperation, that's one of the things that we're seeking to do between the cluster of Bogotá and the Cosmetic Valley. If you do it through cooperation by universities, by researchers, then the result of the use of those natural ingredients won't have to pay a royalty along the process. What are things that are to take into consideration when you're establishing in Colombia? The sectors that are right now identified that could get some potential by using the Colombian biodiversity are through pharmaceutical, phytomedicines, agrochemicals, seeds, enzymes, personal care, fragrances, and flavors. Nationalities could be Colombian or any foreign country. Let's say that we're not limiting it that a foreign country comes to Colombia and works on their biodiversity. So any company from anywhere in the world can come and work. Taxation, there are some taxes, obviously, if you work with some living animals or with bacteria. If they're endemic and if they're in threat, company size, it doesn't matter. I mean, your company size won't determine if you have to pay a royalty or not, if you have to pay a beneficiary a payment for it or not. It will depend on the use of the biodiversity that you do. And it really doesn't matter if the company type, if it's a profit or non-profit, that making both companies and universities and R&D labs in the same regulatory system. If you're going to do access to genetic material and if you don't go for the non-payment, then simply you have to identify what exactly do you want and how you're going to compensate the government. In that sense, we don't have a fixed legislation, like for example Brazil again, where you have to pay a royalty between 1 or 2% over the sale of the net product. But in this case, you can actually negotiate with the Ministry of Environment how your payments are going to be and in what part or what stage of this research you're going to do it. So for example, if you're going to get information from the Ministry of Environment, well, there is an initial payment that you'll have to do, or if you're going to do a collect, you'll pay from the environmental impact of the collection, not a royalty over the sales of the final product. So in that sense, I think we've managed in Colombia to get a very competitive legislation, and so we can promote more and more, and through these kind of joint ventures or through becoming members of a bigger international network, the idea to promote international foreign direct investment, especially in capabilities for R&D that, as you saw, have non-payment for royalties in the country. So that's one of the things that we wanted today to bring. We were working on this since 2011, 2012. We had a lot of work to do in order to adjust our regulatory system. We also been doing research together with the National University, as Professor Guillermo told me. So we're pretty much ready to start working again, promoting R&D in our country. So thank you very much.